What if I told you that right now, as you are sitting there, a highly coordinated billion-dollar heist is happening right inside your own head? And the wildest part? You actually invited the thieves into your home, your bed, and your mind. Every single day, companies are actively rewriting your brain's survival instincts to extract your absolute most valuable resource, your focus. So, what if that little machine in your pocket was literally rewiring your neural pathways just to make a handful of tech companies rich? How is that even possible, you ask? Well, it's because billionaires are literally employing neuroscientists to deliberately program your anxiety, your impulses, and your desires. We kind of like to think of our phones as these, neutral tools, but the reality, they're highly persuasive technologies engineered from the ground up to modify your behavior. Just look at this number, 4 hours and 37 minutes. That's the average daily screen time for a smartphone user. And honestly, for a lot of us, it's pushing 6 or 7 hours. During that massive chunk of your day, your frontal lobes, the part of your brain responsible for impulse control and willpower, they essentially just shut off. They let the software take the wheel. You aren't lacking discipline. Your biology is actively being hijacked. And tech insiders, they openly admit this isn't some crazy accident. Ramsey Brown from Dopamine Labs hit the nail on the head when he called this brain hacking. Your digital dependence is engineered by coders who know exactly when to make you feel just a little extra awesome, purely to keep you trapped in their app for another few minutes.
Section 1. Hijacking your dopamine system, the reward circuit.
Okay, first things first, we absolutely need to debunk this popular myth that dopamine is just the pleasure chemical. It's really not. Actually, scratch that. It's more like your brain's craving and anticipation molecule. It functions as a motivational signal. It pushes you to seek out a reward. The dopamine surge actually happens when you anticipate the reward, not necessarily when you receive it. And this creates a brilliantly engineered dopamine loop. Think about it. You take an action, right, like posting a photo. Then comes that unpredictable wait. Finally, you get a variable reward. Maybe it's 2 likes, maybe it's 20, who knows? But the mere anticipation of that little notification triggers a chemical surge in your brain's mesolimbic pathway that literally demands you check your screen again. Section 2, the slot machine effect, variable rewards. By turning your feed into a digital slot machine, these apps ensure you never actually know when or how much social validation you're going to get. You pull to refresh, literally the exact same motion as pulling a casino lever, and you wait in suspense. This total lack of predictability forces your brain into a compulsive checking loop, making it incredibly hard to just put the phone down. And what's truly alarming is just how widespread this whole shebang is. As the data shows, whether we're talking about Uber, Instagram, or Facebook, these platforms are heavily armed with variable rewards and social reciprocity traps. They engineer this intense sense of obligation, like you absolutely have to accept that connection or message back immediately, just to ensure you stay locked right there in their ecosystem. Section 3. Infinite scrolls and illusions, erasing stopping cues. Infinite scrolling basically acts like a bottomless bowl of soup. There's actually this famous psychological study where people were given bowls of soup that secretly refilled from the bottom. And guess what? People ate 73% more without even realizing they were full. Because there is no visual end to an infinite feed, your brain just normalizes uninhibited consumption without realizing how much time has actually slipped by. A study out of Cal Poly really proved the power of this. Users who were trapped by mobile bottomless scrolling spent almost 3 times longer immersed in the content compared to those navigating traditional paginated desktop sites. When those natural stopping cues are erased, your brain simply forgets to hit the brakes. We're talking almost 44 minutes versus just 16. Then you add in the illusion of choice. You sit there thinking you're browsing freely, right? But in reality, AI algorithms are curating this tightly controlled pipeline designed specifically to trigger your unique neural reward profile for maximum engagement. So the crucial takeaway here is that every single feature on your screen is carefully crafted to exploit your psychological weaknesses. And they generally fall into 3 main categories. You've got craving, which is driven by gamification and those variable rewards. Obligation, fueled by social reciprocity and your own investment, and deception, pushed by infinite scrolling and that illusion of free choice. Section 4, the cost of doom scrolling, the biological fallout.
Look, your brain is evolutionarily built to zero in on threats. It's how our ancestors survived. So when you're doom scrolling through endless negative news, your amygdala, which is basically your brain's ancient threat detector, goes into absolute overdrive. This floods your body with the stress hormone cortisol. It literally forces your nervous system into a continuous, exhausting state of fight or flight.
And let's look at how this builds into terrifying real-world consequences. The cognitive load is just staggering. Chronic overstimulation leads to downregulated dopamine receptors, which causes a diminished capacity for real-world pleasure, also known as anhedonia. You are left with shattered attention spans, a severe attentional bias where you literally only want to look at screens, and completely wrecked sleep cycles because the blue light is suppressing your melatonin. Social psychologist Jonathan Haidt put it perfectly. He warns that we aren't just wasting time. We are living through an unregulated, mass-scale experiment on the mental health of an entire generation. The tech industry has essentially traded our psychological well-being for their engagement metrics, and the toll it's taking on our collective mental health is just immense. Section 5. Reclaiming your brain. Staging your escape. You absolutely must understand that your perceived lack of willpower, it isn't a personal failure. Think about it. They brought thousands of the world's smartest engineers to a fight against your ancient survival instincts. Your brain isn't broken, it's just heavily outnumbered. But you can absolutely fight back. By becoming explicitly aware of these variable rewards and algorithmic deceptions, you can actively start dismantling those dopamine loops. Turn off those non-essential notifications to stop the slot machine in its tracks. Set hard, unbreakable boundaries on infinite scrolling apps, and deliberately engage in real-world activities to resensitize your brain's natural reward pathways. It is time to regain control of your attention. I want to leave you with one really uncomfortable question to think about. The exact moment this explainer ends and your screen goes dark, how many minutes will pass before you instinctively check your phone again? Will you break the loop, or will the heist continue?